think you are.
No, I'm not.
I've even got clothes hanging up all over there.
No, that's all right. Might have something to do with this time of year.
That's Dave's Christmas present. Whoever is doing it, I don't reckon you're gonna do it with you or somebody else do it. You may not want this one. That'll be enough for them.
What you gonna do with it?
There's my bargain.
Hi, Daddy.
Honey got it.
You know, that music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to tell you yesterday was
I was talking about he could have made a lot more money a few years ago if he'd have been happy working for $3 or $4 an hour instead of more money. And I worked for 2.5 a day at the sawmill, 10 hours a day, and was happy. And that is a good old days. Anyhow, we can't dwell too much on the past because it's like spilt milk. One of the bridges already gone.
What do you think about this weather?
I just love it as long as I can stay inside. If I don't have to get outdoors and do something, I'm all right.
How does this compare with the winters we've had in the past? Have we ever had anything like this?
Yeah, we had something much worse than this in 1940. I got some experience, and I thought you needed some of this kind of weather to gain some experience. I wouldn't have undertook to come up here yesterday even in a 4-wheel because in 1940 I lived down yonder across the road from you, and we had a car that I parked outside, and it was wet, and the thing kind of stuck in the ground like in the muddy ruts you make anywhere soft ground. We had a hard freeze and about 11 inches of snow, and we up the first of the next week like this is supposed to do. And my car was sealed to the ground just like you poured concrete around yours out in the yard, you know. And for about a month it sit there.
So yeah, for a month.
I can tell you something about these winters.
This is. Would you say this is worse than what we had in 1960?
Yeah, this is the worst I've seen since 1940.
Come over here and sit down. We're
The river froze over, and some adventurous young fellows like these got a car on the river, and it had a little car with people on it.
Is that right? Yeah. Talking about the good old days, you've seen a lot of things in your time. Things that be hard for these young folks to understand. People back in 1940 had a lot more problems dealing with this kind of stuff than what we do now, didn't they?
Yeah. I remodeled that house that Brock lives in over yonder for Sam Curtin for $2 an hour, $2 a day.
Yeah.
And they had a pretty good sized family.
What
year was that?
It was somewhere about 1940, or in the 40s.
Well, $2 a day by much, Daddy?
$2 a day was more than most people were making.
You was glad to get it then, weren't you?
Yeah. People talking about hard times. They get scared because the stock market falls a little bit, and they're afraid we're going to have a panic. And hard times. You go by a house and see 2 adults, you see 3 cars there. You see 3 adults, and you see 4 cars there, a car for every one. And people talking about hard times, they don't know what hard times are.
Houses back then were not near up to the standard of what we have now. I mean, you got a nice tight house and everything, well heated.
Me and Mom was talking about it this morning. That's one of the things that made the winters back there so bad. We lived in that old open house that was across the road from you down yonder, and Mama had 3 or 4 little children to wash diapers for, and she washed them by hand. And in the wintertime, when it's like this, she couldn't dry them outside, and she'd hang them up here, and they would freeze up close to the fire.
Freeze in the house.
Yeah.
I've heard talk about going to fix breakfast and cracking eggs and the egg being froze and they had to roll around in the skillet and do that.
Oh, I heard. Let me see where we picked up that word. We picked up a word somewhere about a cove. No, the Dale. The Dale. The farmers in the Dale. A little play we used to have. We didn't have any electricity, but we had good times out in the country. We would build a fire up at night, and neighbors, many as 30 or 40 people gather, and around the fire we'd play games, farmers in the Dale, and other things, you know, trading partners, and all kinds of stuff that old games we played. And we'd hear the word Dale. Now, what in the world is that? And the man came from Gilmer County down to our country, and he talked about back in the cove. Cove? What in the world is that? And we couldn't picture a cove. But you go up yonder in Gilmer County and see those mountains, one almost touching another, a little bitty gap in between them, and somebody's got a road back through there, and it widens out back yonder in a little valley, and he's back yonder in the cove. They got them all around in Tennessee and North Georgia and North Carolina, and people live in all kind of places, and they're happy back there. They got different ones called me, and my sister called me from Cairo yesterday when she heard about the storm and wanted to know what it was like up here. And I told her we were off the road where people couldn't get. Y'all walked up here, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you were wise to it. People couldn't get in and out, and I wasn't trying it. We had everything in our homes that we needed. We had food, and we had heat, and we were well, and we didn't need to go anywhere, and we were plumb happy to be at home. Are you working today?
Nah, supposed to work, but they said I didn't have to come in.
Well, good. Those people that are traveling, I get outside and watch them on the highway. They going pretty careful. I saw a big truck a while ago. He got in the low gear down yonder somewhere, easing up through there, just like he could hardly make it. We lived across the road from where David is in 1940 when we had that ice storm I was talking about. People would meet out there in front of the house, and they'd get out of the ruts. As long as they were in the ruts, they were on pretty firm footing, the ground. It wasn't paved back then. And they'd get off out of the ruts, meeting each other. They'd get out in a place where they couldn't go. And boy, they'd paw up the ground, spinning the wheels and accelerating, racing their motor, and we could just barely hear it in the house. The ice kills the sound of anything outside. You can't hear anything very well. It'd be right in front of the house a lot of times. We could just barely hear it.
You just barely know it was there, huh?
Yeah.
How many fires did you have in that house over there? Across the fire?
We had a double fireplace. We could have had this petition right here. You see this petition, don't you?
Yeah, I see.
This petition. Over here was a fireplace, and over there was one on each side of the wall. You could sit in here and have a fire, and the people that was in here could have a fire, and them over there could have a fire. And then in the kitchen, a lot of our time was spent in the kitchen. We had it a little tired than the rest of the house, and had a fire there a lot of the time, and a good bit of our living was in the kitchen. That same way now with Mama. I reckon it is with you.
Yeah.
Kim was sitting over there beside you a while ago. I remember when I was her age and younger, or more younger than her, really. I remember how we used to, in occasions whenever there was snow on the ground or for any reason we couldn't get outside and we had time, we'd climb up on your knee and say, "Daddy, tell us about when you was a little boy."
Yeah.
Now that's going back a little further than the 40s.
I sat up yonder this morning and read Mama 4 or 5 different things. Now, one of you can tell me, who gave us that book that people signed, registered down yonder at your house? Who gave us that book?
at our house.
The one that we had the day after Christmas this year. I don't know where that book came from.
Well, we thought it was presented to us by some of the family, and it may not belong to us.
Oh, sure.
Well, anyhow, I've been reading it, and at the end of the month, there's a double page, the opening on each side has got the cowboys, the backwoodsmen, and the voyagers, the miners, and boy, you can read that and tell what it was like a long time ago. These very interesting pieces. I read about 3 or 4 of them this morning to Mama, and she just laughed at the things that we read about in there, and it's very interesting reading. And you'll find that book that I left down there with you very much the same way. A lot of them people I knew, and I knew that what they said was fact. You'll enjoy it, I think.
Talking about back then, winter in Thomasville and Cairo and Beachton and all, that was not near as severe as what we have here. But I imagine that y'all had some inconveniences with it back then because of the fact that you lived in more open houses and so on, and didn't have a way to go like we do now.
You will never know. I never rode a school bus in my life, and I never went to the lunchroom in my life. All that was before my time. And a lot of times when it was bad outside, we stayed at home. They were afraid for us to go, and they didn't ever close school like they have here this week because of the weather. We'd always have a fire over there, and a lot of them made it, but Daddy always managed to get us a place on the edge of the school district. And one place we walked 4 miles, and at Beachton, where we went most of the time, the last place we lived, where it was, well, in 1921 we moved there, and I was 11 years old. And I'd gone to 2 schools before then, so most of my schooling in the country was at Beachton, and we were 2 miles from the school there. But up at Connell School, we were 4 miles from school. And I had to walk, and when the weather was bad and it was raining, rather than send us off in freezing weather and the rain, they kept us at home. We didn't have a compulsory school law, and anytime Daddy wanted us to help him at home, I stayed at home. And that's why when I was 15 years old, I quit school because I was in the 6th grade. And when I was 21 years old, working on the plantation, I went back to school at Berry and skipped the 7th grade, the rest of the 6th and 7th, and started off in the 8th at Berry. I had a hard time adjusting to the classroom after being away 6 years, and everything's so different from what I was used to, you know. And we'll let you sit down here.
Come on down. I won't take your picture.
He wants you in this that he's doing.
Daddy, why don't you tell us about how you come to go to Barry? I think I'd like to hear that story.
All right. Cecil was the age of Jimmy Mason, and Jimmy Mason was the youngest of the rich people's 3 children. They had 2 girls older. One of them was about my age.
How's the folks that own the plantation?
Mason's on a big plantation, Susina Plantation. And as we drive down that Meridian Road, I have pointed the old big house out to you. That's the Mason place there, big white columns, you know. And I walk from home down there. Sometimes I get over there in time to ride with the people that had a ride. And in 1931, Cecil went with them to St. Simon's Island, so there'd be a boy. Somebody, Mr. Lahamadou at Thomasville, had organized a Little League baseball, and Susina was in the Little League, and Cecil played in the Susina team with little Jimmy Mason and Sonny Starling and some other boys.
Oh, he was getting, he is the rich boy's plaything, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, and they liked him so much that they sent him and two other boys to Barry School. He left in September, and one day about the 1st of October, Ms. Mason came out there where I was working on the plantation and said, Marvin, we've got to do something, and I don't know what to do. What's the matter, Ms. Mason? Them boys up at Barry, one of them has left. The Sessions boy has left, and they call me and tell me that Cecil and the Nazareth boy are very despondent, and they're likely to leave any time. What can we do? Boy, my mind is working just like that. I said, I tell you what you do. You go back to the house, get on your telephone, and call that school and tell them you got a boy you want to send up there. If they'll take me, I'll go, and if I get up there, them boys will stay. Will you go? I said, yeah, I'll go. Selfish.
Got right in the groove, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't know what it's like, but I thought it'd be better. Yeah, I'll go. In a little while, she came back as happy as anybody you ever saw in all your life. She says, you're to go home and get what you want to carry with you, and we're going to the train. I'm sending you up there this evening. They want you to come right on. I had all of South Georgia behind me.
Got on the train that afternoon.
I laid over in Atlanta a long time that night before the train coming to Rome came along. I came on up to Rome. I got to Rome about 8 o'clock the next morning and hadn't slept much. It was like this, you know. And I had a big old suitcase. And I rode a streetcar out there to where 5th Avenue crosses McCall Boulevard. And it was coming on to West Rome, and I had to get off that 5th Avenue. And I started there walking to Barry School with that big suitcase after being up all night. And I was like this, you know, groggy. And I got out there and I met up with an old boy. And this old boy, he walked right up to me like that, you know. That's the way they did back then. Face to face, you know. Where you from, buddy? I tell him, you know, where I'm from and where I'm going. He said, that's where I'm going. He said, we'll just walk together. And we walked a little ways, and here come a car. And it stopped and picked us up. And Hoke Huckabee died 3 or 4 years ago. He lived up there across the road from Merchant School.
He was one to come in and lay rocks in it, David.
Hoke come help me lay rocks. Me and him were classmates at Barry, and we were working on the same work crew. We worked 2 days every week at Barry back then. And this car was Mr. Hamlet, the superintendent of the schools. And he put us off at the dining hall. We got off there about 12:30. He knew that the lunch program was about over, and about through in the dining hall. And he was afraid that we wouldn't get anything to eat. And we got away from the car a little bit, and Hamlet tooted his horn, called Hope to come back. Hope went back, and he says, take that boy around to the back door and get him in the kitchen and feed him. Yes, sir. We went around to the back door, and he got me. He had worked in the kitchen, and he knew everybody in there. We got all we needed to eat, and I got established, got my brother and the other boy, and I was assigned a room with my brother. And Wallace McCain was rooming with Cecil when I got there. And they put another cot in there and let us all room together for a while. And Wallace called me old lady. Your roommate was your old lady. We called each other old lady, you know. And I liked Barry School. It was good. Everybody got along nice, well, and tried to help each other. And, man didn't have pretty good conduct. He didn't stay there very long. Found him out. If they couldn't changes ways, they send away.
Well, Ms. Mason paid some money for your transportation and clothes and
She was
tuition.
probably out $400 or $500 on each one of us. And after I'd been at 2B's a good many years, I got some money in my pocket one day and I was down there and I said, I'm going down to the Mason place today. And I went down there and they took me out on a room that was screened in as a porch, as big as this, where they brought their guests. They sit me down there and they treated me just like I was pressed here. And they brought me every refreshment that anybody might desire, and I enjoyed going first class, a little bit. And after we talked a while, I said, I came down here on business today. I came down here knowing that you had spent a good bit of money to help me, and it has been a big help to me, and I appreciate it enough that I want to repay you for all that you've done. Whatever expense you've had on me, I want to pay. She says, well, you can pay me. If you want to pay me, I want you to pay me. You can pay me. The only way you can pay me is do what you can to help somebody else.
Yeah, get out with
That's
it.
all she takes.
You mentioned 2B's. Of course, there were some things that happened between your getting established at Berry College and then 2B's. You got to run around with Wallace McKean and getting a little bit of off-campus experience and so on. You want to tell us about some of that?
Wallace and I were both in the choir at Berry, and he knew that I liked singing. And they had a singing at the homecoming at Mountain Springs Church. And they, hey, you're going to be singing over here at this little church Sunday. I'm going over there. You want to go with me? I said, that's off campus. He said, yeah, but I make it all right. He said, you can go too. He said, it'll be all right. And you know what? One of the factories was over there, Miss Bell was over there. You didn't know Miss Bell, did you? Well, they were over there and they saw me. Either they didn't report me or Mr. Hammer didn't care. I was over there with Wallace McKean. You see any of the boys over there? Wallace McKean was over there and he had Clay with him. They were there in the choir singing and enjoying themselves, behaving themselves. They didn't do a thing about it. That's when I met this mother of yours, grandmother. I didn't know a thing about her until that day. And down yonder at David's house, I was thinking of something. The 26th of January is a busy time for everybody, and they have to buy food. The third Sunday in June is the first day that I started going regular with this girl. And to me, it's as much of an anniversary as the 26th of December. And if the whole family would rather have a gathering on the third Sunday of June, that's going through my mind. I wasn't talking that day, but it was going through my mind. It's a little bit awkward here at Christmas time, but maybe they'd rather have it then. And I called Flora and sit outside of her and talk to her about it. She says, well, don't cancel it. She says you can have two if you want to, but don't cancel it. And the third Sunday in June was a big day, and I didn't run around with Wallace. He invited me to go with him that day. If he went off the campus a lot and going other places, I don't know. I know a lot of the boys did. And it's a violation of the school's rules.
Yeah, Wallace was kind of a character. I remember he started telling me about some things. A bunch of the boys slip off up in the holler or something or other,
Yeah.
and smoke and so on. But apparently they weren't. All of you weren't involved in that.
No, we weren't all.
Wallace is kind of a character.
Wallace would go overboard, and he was a pretty rugged individual, and he got along pretty well with the school. I think they knew his family and kind of wanted to hip him and lean over backwards to,
Tolerate.
yeah.
Let's see. What year was it you and Mama got married?
32.
Okay.
We didn't know each other for about 6 months.
Uh-huh.
Some couples go together for years, but I had got 22-year-old and thought that I was old enough to know what I was doing.
Yeah.
A lot of times I wondered about that.
I know the feeling.
What'd you say, Mama?
I have too.
Let's see. You dropped out of school whenever you got married, or had you already dropped out of school?
No. People always gonna talk. Well, these young people get married one day. They may not keep it a secret, but you know, things come out on this young presidential candidate and his wife a long time before they got married on Christmas. And I'd spend some time with her at her place in Texas Valley. Then I was breaking the school rules, but one time there's an ice storm that I went over the mountain and went over there and stayed with her. And she called me, she was teaching school in the valley, and told me that she was going to have a baby. And that she needed me. And so I just left the school, and nobody but Cecil knew that I had left the school. And we got married the 26th of December, and the baby came in October. And
The 22nd.
and we didn't do anything we weren't supposed to do before we got married. And somebody said he had to marry her and all that stuff, but you know, you can't help what other people say. I read a joke in Reader's Digest, and I'm not going to tell anybody any joke that I won't tell everybody. I don't believe in dirty jokes. That's one of my weaknesses. I got a lot of them, but that's one. I don't forgot what I was going to tell you.
You gonna tell us a joke that you read in the Reader's Digest?
I reckon everybody is subject to that kind of thing. I read so many jokes, and some of them I like and repeat them, and some of them I just forget all about.
How'd you get on at 2B's?
I told a lie. The old man that hired the help over there, Mr. Eves, thought that if they come from Sand Mountain, Alabama, they were barefooted, and that they would work, and that the only people he could get that would stay over there and work would be off of Sand Mountain. I told him one morning, the 28th of March, 1935, 3 days before Fred was born. I had a wife and one child, and she's about to have another one. I told him one morning that I was from Cairo, Georgia, and I'd been in Rome since I left Ferry School. we haven't got the thing this morning. Call me in a few days, maybe I'll have something. And I come back and told John Mitchell, the man that was her uncle, and we were living in the home with him back then. I told John, what did he tell you? He told me to call him in a few days. They didn't have anything. He said, I tell you what I wish you'd do. I wish you'd go in there and call him again right now. Change your voice a little if you can. Tell him you need a job. You want a job. He'll ask you, where you from? You tell him Sand Mountain, Alabama. And see what he says. I call him. I says, I need a job, Mr. Hughes. I want to go to work. I need a job. Where you from? Sand Mountain, Alabama. How long will it take you to get out of here? I said, I'll be there in 30 minutes. Come right on. I got an opening this morning. I want to put you on. Is that bad to tell a lie? I'm not there. I must be from there.
What had you been doing?
I've been helping Uncle Joe Morris build houses.
Oh yeah, you learned how to lay rock out at Berry, and was you laying rock?
You've seen the
Uncle Joe
store
did
and the
that.
shop out there at Berry, and the dairy barns up there at Mountain School. I worked on all of them.
Was you when you were working with Uncle Joe or
no? Uncle Joe had nothing to do with it.
That was when you was at Berry.
I was a student at Berry.
I see.
2 days a week and in the summertime.
Well, you got off back down to South Georgia and Florida somehow, right in that not long after that, didn't you?
After school was out in Texas Valley, your granddaddy Terrell had this place here, 196 acres of road. Split it open, and most of it was on the other side of the road. And we didn't care nothing about this side of the road except our spring. We got some wood up here sometimes. But he decided after 3 years, he was here in 1933, 34, and 35. And he decided that it wasn't what he needed. He needed closer to town and more grazing land. So he told me that for the little house and lot that I had, I'd bought some land up there close to Duke's Sawmill and built a house on it. And he says, I'll give you what I got in this property down here for what you got up there on Soda Avenue, just off the zone. I said, all right, I'll take it. I got a federal land bank loan on this place for $800. $800 to pay off what he owed.
196 acres?
Everything was cheap then.
Yeah.
And I had to pay $80 a year payments on the thing. And I went off and traded with Lonnie Van. I said, Lonnie, I'm going to live in a house in Silk Hill Village, and I want somebody to take the place on shares. Shares was, I got a third of the feed crop that he made, corn and hay and feed, and a fourth of the cotton. And I thought if he'd make 4 bales of cotton, I could get $80 out of the bale of cotton, and it would make my annual payment to the Federal Land Bank. But I had to furnish him fertilizer and stuff in the spring because he didn't have the money to buy it. And most of the time, he didn't pay me back what I paid for the fertilizer and enough for the taxes.
Billy got sick with cancer. He died.
Yeah, and I made the payments a few years. In 1941, I advertised the whole thing for $2,000. And Mr. Floyd Riddle of Rossville, Georgia, came down here and bought the other side of the road. He said, I'll give you $1,250 for the house, barn, and that side of the road. I said, all right, I'll take it. And I got stuck with this side of the road again. I didn't care about it, but I'd rather have this clear than to owe $800 on the whole thing. So I let him have it. He stayed down here 1 year and sold to Clyde Medlock. I don't know what Clyde paid for it, but I know he got it cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But after we sold the rental, we got $700, over $700 for the timber off of this.
Yeah, I sold this to the timber off of this in 1948, the White Acre.
Uh, how did you get on down to Florida? That's what I was
Yeah,
wondering.
I was on my way to telling you that. When we left the valley, when school was out, they had bought a little place over there we called a sale place. It was such a cheap thing that he couldn't hardly pass it up. And the little store over yonder in Texas Valley was on that property, if you know where I'm talking about. I came down here, and we all worked in the dairy together. And Mr. Kearns lived out yonder at the 3 Mile Creek on the left, that land that Berry School got in pasture where Mr. Kearns had pastured. He had 12 or 15 cows, and he wanted to sell his dairy and go out of business. And he wanted $500 for about 15 cows, and the yearlings and everything. And Mr. Terrell wanted me to buy it and put it in with his and have a larger dairy and get Kearns' customers. And we bought Kearns out, and we all came down here and worked the dairy, run the dairy. And we weren't making anything, just in existence. And all my people were in Orlando, Florida, and they told me how well they were doing down there and wanted me to come down there. So I left Mama and Lenan. Lenan was born in October. Before I left here before Christmas, about October or November. Ann was 6 weeks or 8 weeks old, wasn't she? Her birthday is 22nd of October. And somewhere around Christmas time, I left with Don Hammond. He put me off in Ocala, Florida, and I hitchhiked from there into Orlando. And I got down to Lake Dora, and the fellow standing beside the road, I have to tell you about this. I think about it a lot. He says, "You on the road, huh?" "Yeah." He said, "Boy, I've been on the road a lot." He says, "It's a hard life." He said, "Anything I can do to help you, I'll help you any way I can." I said, "Well, that's nice." He said, "By the way, that's my daddy's orchard there. If you like oranges, get out there and get you some." I got out and got me some oranges. And I thought about that a lot of times. He might not own that. His people might not have had more to do with that orange grove than one of you. Somebody catch me out. But anyhow, a fella come along in a little Austin car, and you'd never seen an Austin, don't guess, you don't know what they're like. But they were smaller than a Volkswagen, a little bitty thing, and I had a pretty big suitcase, and the man took a good bit of time to help me get placed in his little car, and he took me all the way to Orlando. I walked up in the house at 526 Carter Street. Orlando wasn't such a big town then. It's a big town now, I'm sure, but I haven't been there since 1934. And I stayed there about 3 or 4 months working with Dr. Phillips and in the cannery and down on Lake Kissimmee on the island in the orchard, picking fruit. And we were making enough to buy what we had to have, and that was about it. And Daddy told me that nobody was at the home place, and they had all the furniture in it. And if I wanted to, I'd go up there if I thought I'd like it better. So I went up there and made a crop. He sent me money to buy feed and groceries until our produce came in, and then we had it pretty good. But you talk about hard times. Everybody in the community laughed at me when I bought 100 pounds of mashed potatoes and planted them. 100 pounds of potatoes, great, isn't it? Right. Boy, I have the biggest potato patch in the whole country. And we potatoes breakfast. We eat potatoes for dinner. We eat potatoes for supper.
And before the potatoes come in, we lived on $1.50 a week.
Oh, yeah. And boy, you talking about a hard time. We had it. I'd build a bird trap and set it down there in the plum orchard. And while I was plowing my horse or something or other, Mama would go down there to the bird trap. One day she came in. I reckon she had 2 or 3 quail. I don't know how many she had. But she was so happy. She said, "Guess what I got?" I said, "You got 2. Guess again." And I kept guessing. And now directly I couldn't believe what. I think she had
I got 9.
9 birds. She wore an apron down to the trap, you know, and she'd caught the bottom of it and held it up close, stick one in there, and stick another in there, and them birds fluttering around in their apron. And she brought them things home, and I dropped everything I was doing, and we came up there and dressed birds, and boy, did we have a dinner. You know about hard times now. A lot of people don't know what hard times are.
We didn't have rice to cook with, but they had a little bit of grits.
Had some grits and bird, huh? There was another story down there about a bird. One particular bird. You wouldn't want to tell us that story, would you? About the turkey? I think there's something about you outrunning it and then losing it.
Yeah. The man named Reagan had farmed the place the year before, and Reagan liked to plant peanuts. He planted a lot of the place in peanuts. And in the spring, I got down there and turned the field, turned the ground, and in turning the ground, I turned a lot of peanuts up. And peanuts is a choice food for turkeys. I went down one rainy morning in the field after it cleared up a little bit, and the field was full of turkeys. And they just rose up and flew down yonder in the woods. I had Mama with me a month ago when we were on the hill over yonder where Trap lives, and we saw something flying up over the road and got up in behind the old Creasy Dillon house, flying across the road. And I says to Mama, "That's a wild turkey. If you ever see a wild turkey in the air, you won't ever forget. When you see another, you'll know it." Them wild turkeys flew down yonder in the Yankee place. They joined us in the back. And I knew they would be back. And I went back to the house. I knew where the gun was. It was at John Henry's. Henry called yesterday and said that John Henry's boy, Lamar, was coming to see me. He may be right away, it may be later, but anyhow, he had Lamar and Lee, 2 children, and Mamie over there at Beeston, and Daddy's gun was at his house. And I went over there and said, "John Henry, I went up in the field a while ago, and the field was full of wild turkeys, and I want one of them very bad for my supper, and as long as he'll last, and I want to get the gun." "All right, Bud, I'll go with you, and we'll get them turkeys." He liked the woods, and he liked to hunt. And when we got back over there, we got his shells, and I walked 2 miles over to his house, and 4-mile round trip. We spent some time over at the store, and got us some shells, turkey load, and we got back over there. We saw the turkeys fly up from the edge of the field into the trees on the other side. And we got down there, and the turkeys flew out of their roost, where they'd gone up to roost, and they pitched over yonder in the other trees. And then when they were in the air, I was running as hard as I could with a gun in my hand to where they were going. And when they settled down, I could tell exactly where they were. And I got trees between me and them, and I eased along, keeping that tree for a blind between me and them. I got in range of them and stepped out in the open, and one of them old turkeys, a wild turkey, won't sit on a limb like a crow or a hawk or a chicken, they'll sit out there in the end of the pine bough and it'll just squash down like this, you know, just settle down like a snow would. And to get out of that, he's got to go straight up. And that big turkey gobbler went straight up in there about 6 or 8 feet before he let out. And I let him have it. And I hit him with 2 shots. One shot hit a wing and broke his wing, and the other shot went through his neck. It didn't break his neck, but 2 shots hit him. And when he hit the ground running. And when he got to the ground, I was about 6 feet of him. And he was going downhill toward a thicket down yonder, and it was getting night. It was close to dark. And I knew if he got in the thicket and darkness came on me, that I never would find him. So I throwed my gun down. I was keeping up with him, carrying the gun, and I throwed the gun down and picked up that turkey a little bit. I got that turkey, and my brother standing there yonder, 100 or 2 feet behind, with his mouth open, watching me. I got there to where he was. We were on land that was posted that belonged to the rich people. And I was afraid of the game warden, and I wanted to get off of there as quick as I could. And I was running. So I run, my brother said, let me have that turkey. And he run just as long as he could and give out. And we got back on our own property and then took it easy on to the house. And I said, John Henry, what does that turkey weigh? He weighs 20 pounds. And I asked Mama what he weighed. Mama said he'll weigh 25. I said he'll weigh 30 pounds. Bill and Sarah bought a turkey right recently that was a big one that would probably weigh as much as that turkey I killed. But he is about the biggest turkey that I ever saw.
Well, that one that Sarah and his pop didn't have as long a drumstick as the one, that wild one you killed. We measured the
one that they got from the market was better fed though, because he didn't have to spec for it. Anyhow, he was a full-grown, mature turkey.
Drumstick,
and we
12 inches.
We ate turkey for a whole week over that turkey, and don't you know that the Indian that went out and got a deer or something other for feed his family had something that he was proud of? I know it because I know how proud I was of that one. My wife's proud of it too. She's just proud of them little birds.
Yeah, John Henry and his wife.
John Henry and his family come and spend the week with us.
Yeah.
I want everyone of y'all to see Lamar.
They wanted to get in on that turkey, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I believe Kim likes my dog as good as she does hers. I like her dogs. I saw them down at Craig's, and Craig thought they were his, but he thought somebody sold them out.
Hmm.
Jesse took them out. Jesse took them
Yeah.
You've had many, many more experiences besides those. Of course, we could talk from now on about.
I was talking to Eric before y'all came up. I had worked for Whitfield and lived in a home with him. He had 5 boys and a girl. All of his boys are dead, and his girl is the only one living. I was making $20 a month from the board with Whitfield, and Bill Weatherby brought a sawmill into the Hall place down yonder 4 miles from there. And somebody told me that I might get a job down there with Weatherby. I went down there and talked to Ben Theodore. And Ben said, well, yeah, I'll put you on this morning if you want to start working. And I needed a log turner. And I turned logs for $1.75 a day. And they voluntarily went up to $2.50 a day. And I had done everything at the mill, so I was the extra hand after being liked me very much. He was a single fella, and we'd go to dances, and me and Ben got along fine. He is a 30-year-old, not married.
This must have been before you came to Rome.
Oh yeah, 1929. Ben says, I'm going to hire that man yonder. He says he's a log turner. And I told him I had a good log turner. And I want to talk to you about it. I'm going to hire him. I'm going to let him turn logs. And you come in every day. And when they haul a load of logs in here, you roll them down to Tom. And he won't have nothing to do but stand right here and turn logs. And you can go down yonder and crank the gasoline engine. They always put the portable sawmill close to a branch or a pond or where they could pump water to the boiler. That steam boiler. And they pump water with a gasoline engine to the boiler. We had a big old vat built with box. It was a box type thing, 12 to 16 inches high, 10 or 12 foot long, 4, 5 foot wide. It'd hold 300 or 400 gallons of water. And it'd pull the water into the boiler out of that thing, and I'd have to pump water with a gasoline engine to that box. And he called me and said, come here. He said, I want to go down yonder and fiddle with that engine a little bit. He said, I'm just going to be doing something. And you run this saw while I'm down yonder. I'll be close by if I'm needed. And he said, I want you to learn how to run this mill. Might want to be off someday. And I got to where I could do any job at the sawmill. And the old man, Bill Weatherby's daddy, had 2 children, a girl and a boy. And Billy was his boy, and the girl married Luvinia Cotton. And Luvinia always came out to the job in a serge suit, a white shirt, and a pair of dress shoes. And he walked around and told the men what to do. I never could get people to work for me unless I was out there doing as much work as they were. But Luvinia, he could get the men to do it, and him just stand there watching them. Luvinia had mules, he had log carts, and he logged the mill, and Bill had the sawmill, and he got somebody to run it for him, and they were in half interest in the sawmill. And I worked for Bill, and Uncle George would come out just about every day and watch what was going on. He said to me one day, he says, I want you to know that I've been watching you, and I know what you're worth. You're worth more than any man. He's got you $3 a day. Old man was running Bill's business for him, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But I know now why he wanted that. He knew that somebody else would learn about me, that I could do all these things that I could do, and want to hire me, and that they might lose me, and he wanted me to stay there, wanted me to be satisfied. So he said, Bill's going to pay you $3 a day. I didn't have to ask for a raise. I got it without it, and I liked old man George, and I liked the sawmill. I stayed with that until it shut down. The sawmill went down, and I went to a canning plant at Cairo and worked in the canning plant, and I got acquainted with just about everybody in the county, either with the sawmills as it moved around in different communities, or at the canning plant, working there, and people from all over the county coming in there with their stuff. And I knew a lot of people there when I left there, but I don't know many there now. That's why I'm taking the Cairo paper to see what's going on. Once in a while, I see some of them name in the paper, but most of them done gone on.